for the game. Border, a map that used to be North America's pride and joy, now going the way of W7M. It's going to be their pick here. It's been a long time since North America was the most dominant region on this map, but we have been playing it quite a bit recently. Space Station more than likely having quite a few of these maps under their belt in recent history. So we'll see what they can potentially do. If we do end up going to the last map, it will be Cafe. Another fantastic map for W7M.
No huge surprises when it comes to our bans so far, and the same's going to continue as we move over to the defender-sided ones. Ying, still fairly useful on this map, especially for those descent attacks and even the one going into the second floor too. And floors, this is another one of these maps where you have a lot of very interior sites, as I like to call them. Basically, these are sites and or rooms where you don't have any immediate window or door access from the outside of the building, or at least a room that the attackers can easily control. That's where Flores is going to be the best, because obviously he is a pretty much no-risk operator when it comes to trying to send utility into those rooms and knock out the enemy's utility on the defensive side. So here we go, folks, as things are now locked in. We get that final defender ban as well. Interesting one there as we end up with the Aruni getting knocked out. Not one we have seen super often at this event so far. It makes sense considering the amount of utility that is going to show up, given the kind of claustrophobic nature of this map compared to what we just played on Chalet.
Yes, indeed. I was trying to look here to see if this is a common ban for them. Doesn't really seem like too much. So, actually, W7M stats we're looking at there, they've actually banned her once within recent history. Go over and check SSG's stats here and see if this is a normal thing, because I don't feel as though it is, honest to God. Looks like, no. Within recent history, actually, we've gotten one Aruni ban from them.
10 seconds to go.
See if I can figure out what map that is on. Try and figure that out later. But this could be a spot ban here from SSG up against W7M. Aruni definitely a pretty interesting op when it comes to this map. You know, she does quite a bit. Not only does she have the laser gates, but she also has the EBR for those longer distance gunfights. She's also got the fist for soft destruction. So there's so many things that she's really, really good at, and you can definitely see why she'd be extremely useful on a map like this. You know, a lot of teams really like to extend themselves out towards the security side as well, so you can use those things on like doors, windows, even soft panels as well to you know, have some form of safeguard around your positioning.
Already 30 seconds deep into the round. W7M, of course, moving slowly as usual. Volps already having popped open, of course, the office door. Unfortunately, there is a defender-sided angle lined up for it, so not going to be able to immediately push his way into it here, as it is a little bit of a double-edged sword set up on that door right now. He can potentially take people down that are peeking from the locker side, but as you guys probably saw from the silhouettes, SSG doesn't have anyone in those positions, but they can still swing the other side of the breach and potentially take down the push from W7M itself if that player is not careful. Hurts trying to work the nades from down below, not going to find anything, however.
So a little update on that ban, actually. It was actually banned against SSG. So this is the first time that they've banned Aruni out. So obviously for a distinct reason, more than likely just to try and soften up the positioning of W7M when they do get to that side. Again, a lot of influence coming out of that character, and you can see SSG trying to have a lot of influence on this map right now. Hot and Cold has to try and get something back, but it'll be Fultz instead. They recognize that Herds and potentially some more players starting to work their way up the eastern stairs. This front might be difficult for Hot and Cold to fight, especially with this frag grenade being thrown into his location, but he's already dead and gone. KZ will clean him up instead.
KZ continuing to clean things up. It seems as Yeti now falls as well. Bosco and Fultz are all that remains. Both players separate from each other, I do believe, too. And indeed, that is the case. Bosco down in office first. All onto Fultz here now, deeper in the site. And already has been heavily injured. They already know where he is, as they seem to have known pretty much everything throughout the course of this series, especially on their attacks. W7M keep this game rolling strong into their favor as they give us a convincing first round on Border.
I think it's a pretty fair shake to say that we're a little scared for SSG right now. W7M looking unstoppable at the current moment. SSG have not been able to really find all that much. Completely different map. Back on a defense they go, and this first round definitely not theirs. Only able to really muster a singular kill, and it just seemed like W7M had the keys to the kingdom for that.
Defenders protect
Very much the case, and that has, again, just to reiterate, been the case seemingly for most of this series outside of the first round back on Chalet. It's all up to SSG here to try and wake up, find the direct counter to how W7M has been able to methodically just figure out every single facet of SSG's defense and systematically take it down player by player, seemingly in every single round they've played out here so far. How do they get in the way? How do they disrupt that intel gathering phase? Do we see them double down, try to go for like mute Mozzie combos and pull it off? It's not really something that's in the meta right now, so they're probably not considering that, but it may be something that has to come out here eventually, as once again, W7M just seems to have far too much info before they make any serious moves, and SSG is just giving it way too little time to react to that on instinct alone. Repicks are a big part of the play once again for W7M. The top 4 out of 5 players on that right UI end up changing their operator here. So the Bucks brought in, the Ashes switched over, and on top of the Lion as well as the Nomad, it's going to be difficult for SSG to make any big moves over the course of this round.
Yeah, I didn't trust him when I saw the Glaz. Even though we've had people bringing Glaz, I never trust it.
It's like, I think I made this point yesterday, is like the Glaz is like, even when I've seen people 6-pick it in, or rather re-pick it in, it's like, it doesn't usually do that much.
It's
like,
so niche.
Like, yeah, it's like, the setup is there, but I've rarely seen the Glaz, like, get 2 to 3 picks that the team would be expecting him to find there. It's like, it's more the fear of it, more than anything, that finds its weight in those rounds. So,
I can't remember if it was Sonics or Oxygen that made that play on Chalet with the light screen through the drone hole.
Yeah.
That was the one that I thought was going to be potentially the coolest, but ended up just blowing up their own light screen. It's Jesus Mary. W7M making me a believer for this.
I mean, we'd be remarking on this as like something super impressive, but it's just business as usual as far as this series is concerned at this point, right?
This is business casual. We got a radio show going now, folks. W7M with a highlight reel up against SSG here. Yeti, they're just sending mortar strikes at his location now.
So down to 3 for SSG. The upstairs positions still need to be cleared out, of course, but W7M are working this from the other way, just doing it from below, and seemingly, once again, we're not really struggling with it. Rampy down to a low state of health as well here. 20 HP or so to go.
Here we go.
Wolves will get caught out as he tries to transition in, but Herds immediately with the changeup. Back upstairs there, is able to find it, and then on the way down through metal, knocks out Yeti as well, leaving it all on the player who was able to successfully pick up a trade. It's a little awkward here in the final battle, but once again, still in the hands of W7M when everything is said and done. And it may be done overall for the series soon if we don't see a big wake-up call come in from SSG, as it's another 2-0 lead, uncontested for the most part, from W7M.
SSG is free-falling right now. There is no fuel in the tank. I can definitely tell you another tech timeout's coming if W7M wins this round. Just Space Station look like a shell of their former selves in every regard. I don't think that we've seen SSG this perplexed with Yeti on the roster ever.
Very, very true, and I think a lot of that goes back again to just the fact that they may have made some mistakes when it came to the map bans here, going directly into W7M's hands. SSG thinking that maybe they had the prowess to directly contend against some of the favorites from W7M. That's a mistake that I doubt they'll be making again throughout the rest of this group stage and the rest of the tournament here, as it is coming back to bite them in a big way. Maybe on top of that, like I said before, W7M just seems like they're on another level right now here over SSG.
I mean, how disheveled would you be if you gotten 1 round in 2 maps? And they've gotten, what is it now, 9?
I wouldn't even have gotten the 1 round.
You know?
For being real.
Oh my gosh. No, John, I give you the benefit of the doubt. I think that you would at least get 1 round. I think that somehow W7M would stumble into your setup and that you would win. I have that much confidence in you. I believe in you, buddy.
All right, let's see.
Especially if you were playing with Pangu, because let's be honest, then Nick would just do it himself.
A hard carry for me. Sit back with the diffuser and wait for him to clear it out for me.
Get some lessons from Deepak. Just play Echo the entire time, and just shoot people in the back when you get there. He really doesn't do that. He's a god when it comes to the Echo play. But
20 seconds left. Like.
Yeah, dude, that's perfect. You get to be lazy. That's what I love about Echo. His lines literally tell you how to play the character. It's like time to be efficient and kind of lazy. Oh, speaking of efficient, Volps is going to be able to knock down 1, and kind of lazy part, well, nobody in the territory to be able to help him up.
Once again, uncontested opening kill goes the way of W7M. Fultz gets scared out a little bit by his own teammates, it seems, there as they work their way back in. I almost got thrown off too because of the movement from him, but everything does stabilize here for SSG. But the pressure continues to boil closer and closer to to the hard point of SSG here on the inside of Office, where we have that extension deployed by Houghton and a few other members too. Yeti strikes back. Much more efficient fight being taken this time here by the SSG camp, as they're able to trade out that frag against JV92 here, bring us down to a 4v4 and keep things a bit more stalemated than we have seen in previous rounds so far. Volps trying to make a big wrap around, but indeed, SSG holding their ground successfully this time. Bosco fending off KZ. Volps ready to make that play through beepers a second ago, and even better, Julio, they're apparently on the site here. SSG none the wiser to it as far as we can see, as they just ignore the upstairs presence and go for the plant. It's a bit of a gamble for W7M, especially being a player down, but it could end up working out. They've got hot intel in terms of what's going on over here towards the Office as well. One player already down for the count, now finishing off a second one. Julio claims a third. They do bring back that other player that had gone down on the inside of the Office, but what exactly can he do at this point here? Trapped in a corner, apparently still able to battle out from it, but now he's alone. Yeti in the 1v1 versus Herds here for the round with about 10 seconds to go here. Needs to try and start tapping the case. The nade comes through. Will deal just a tad bit of damage to him, but he's already pretty low from the previous exchange. Herds will get rid of the intel coming in from the bulletproof. Herds makes the run into it. Yeti's going to stick it. Hope there's enough time, but unfortunately not. Herds clutches it out again, and W7M remain flawless on this map.
Rainbow Six Siege remaining the most difficult FPS in the genre in order to stick a case. Got that constant buzzing going on. You always know when they're on it. So very close for Yeti there, whereas he was less than a second away from defusing that. Look at this right here.
I mean, the problem was, too, the way the timing worked out. You could see it there. We were just on the precipice of 7 seconds, so he's like,
yep,
I've got, like, there's a chance he might not make it to me in time. Even if I kill him, I'm not going to win it anyway, so I just got to stick it here. That was really the only thing that made sense in that situation, so I don't even blame him for just ignoring the rush back at him, as I think he made the right choice given the scenario and just didn't end up working out in his favor. The tack timeout has, of course, come in for SSG. Very much needed given the 3-0 perfect run so far here from the attackers. Not even getting to see SSG, I believe, go over their full site rotation. They just need to figure out stylistically what is going wrong here. It's very much the same things that we saw on map number 1 repeating themselves here on Border.
Distraught and disheveled for SSG right now. A lot on the mind, a lot on their shoulders after it's been utter Brazilian dominance in the server. North America cannot claim their stake, not even a zip code, it seems like, on this territory. W7M has been constantly at their necks, cutting them down to size. They'll look to do so again on the second quarter here, you can say, of this round. Derry also, a little while ago, talking about SSG in quarter, or SSG, the game rather, in quarters when it came to the halves and things like that, which I think honestly is pretty cool. So, technically the second quarter coming up, if you guys want to work with that system.
Just confuses the viewers.
It definitely does.
It works out in my head, but the problem is you gotta think there's like 50,000 people at home that also have to figure that out, so.
Yeah, and then, like, you know, there's not quarters in, you know, non-American football, so it's just like, they only have halves, and then, yeah, it's just like, what's your relative sport, right? Because then, like, if it's Formula 1, then you're just like, well, what the hell is this? Like, is that Grim? No. What? Oh, is that our first Grim?
We got him!
KZ said, SSG can't even stop me if I play this character.
So KZ goes for the Grim pick. Like Stokes said, this is the first one I've seen in pro play, so let's see how it's going to end up working out here for the W7M roster.
I think it might actually work out well because there's no ADSs and there's no my discs. So perfect kind of thing for Grim here. In case you're wondering what Grim does, he's a beekeeper. They just have to be mechanical bees that track the locations of your opponents when they run through the little beehive while it's active. So
you can see, actually, I think it already giving out some intel. I believe it was thrown over into security there, where we saw at least one piece of info being bled over there, so they're going to get the track off onto the player in the CCTV. Nothing actionable, of course, as
no shot.
Yeah, he's going for it, though, as he catches JV92 on the drone, but he doesn't know where to go from there, unfortunately. It's way too long of a dash back to jail. Herds quick on the response, but at least they throw them off a little bit here with that 1-1 trade to start the round.
Hilarious. What else would you expect out of Yeti? I would have expected that out of him even 5 years ago. You know, like, same guy, literal same guy. KZ is going to go down. That's Grim dead and gone. And he didn't really do much, which is sad because I really wanted him to actually do something with the op here, but
how it usually happens, unfortunately. We get a spicy op pick and then, like, nothing ends up happening with it. So.
Yeah, I think the only one that we've had as of late that's been, you know, actually pretty useful has been Tachanka. You know, every once in a while. He's been really the niche pick.
Let me be fair, he is like an anchor. So he's like literally the last person. Nades in.
It didn't matter. It literally didn't matter.
Fultz killing Fultz anyway. The nade, I think, would have been a little off the mark, but like Stokes said, the kill is claimed regardless. Fultz spamming in the flashes to allow his teammates to move through, and more importantly, to allow the plant to go down for Julio. Hertz continuing to harass the hole to provide fountain and correspondingly office for that second kill. Only one defender remains. It's Bosco, and he won't stay alive for very long here. W7M seem unstoppable right now as they continue the tear against SSG, and SSG just continues to regret this map ban phase, as once again, they have set themselves up for disaster, it seems.
W7M are so good at getting the map controlled, just the necessities. The simple, bare necessities for W7M, my friend. That's all they need every time you see those two cross angles. They get archives, they get metal stairs, they have that cross-through fountain there that's been set up, and that's all they need. The guy plants at the back of Armory, and there's no way that SSG gets back into the site. They box them out completely, and that's even with Bosco still technically in the site, John. He's just bearing down in behind that bomb chassis, just trying to stay alive. He's quivering, shaking his boots. It's impossible for Space Station right now. You got to feel for him, but what a showcase of W7M's talent.
Indeed, SSG really struggling here to try to get around the setup from W7M, counteract the intel game, and come up with a cheeky flank or something similar they can use to get in the way.
Holy,
just have not seen it.
Did you look at Hertz' scoreline yet? He's 10-0. He hasn't even died.
Oh, wow.
What is happening? He was just hiding from me. He's off in the bottom right.
He's on entry. He's on entry right now. So he's the one you expect to die because he's just like the one in front, and that's unfortunate 9 times out of 10. But he has been pretty much flawless. We talked about it at the beginning of this series too. In yesterday's game for W7M, he had a 9-4 entry coefficient, which is a massive scoreline as far as Siege is concerned there. He's been able to continue that tear. It seems not as efficient, of course, on map number 1 here. You can still see him have that decent presence, but here on map number 2, he is second to none, and he is still harassing out the members of SSG. 2 more kills on the counter. 3 more kills on the counter. 12-0. JV92 will get traded out by Rampy, but I mean, W7M, there should be a plant coming in at any moment. There is going to be another one coming in for KZ this time as Rampy falters. I mean, we're not even 50 seconds deep here. Fultz brought the duck, and it's not even going to help this situation here now, as he is alone off on an island, nowhere even near the site right now. He is playing on the inside of Workshop, just wasting out the time, baiting for kills if he can get them, of course, to pad the stats a little bit, but more realistically, just giving his IGL a few seconds to try and talk this one out. First kill's been picked up, second kill is found. The round may not be over yet, but there we go. Julio with the crunch finishes things off, and W7M continue their flawless run.
That's a personal foul. W7M.
I mean, they're just having a ball game at this point. Look at them. It's all smiles here.
Unnecessary roughness, man. That's all I'm saying. 15 yards on W7M.
Roughing the passer.
Yeah, dude, roughing the everything. Is there a bullying flag? Is that allowed in this regard? Now here's the crappy thing for our North American friends here. SSG, this is not the greatest start to their really crappy schedule for the rest of this stage, because they play W7M and then they play Koi and then they play G2. So you don't really get anybody that's gonna slow things up, because Koi's been playing pretty well. They're not as strong as they were in Berlin, at least initially looking into things, but they're still a really stand-up squad. And then G2, I mean, they've been looking pretty solid. Doki's had some fantastic games. Alamau having a heck of a group stage as well. So I mean, SSG, they got to get a grip.
Indeed they do. Just not sure if we're going to see it over the course of this series. It might be too far gone at this point.
Oh yeah, I'm not even thinking about this series anymore, my friend. I'm being honest with you right now. I think that the SSG is completely out of this. There's no way that they still have a mental.
We'll have to hope that this is a real wake-up call for them. Keep in mind, of course, this is, as Stokes was mentioning there before, and you may have caught on to it, this is only their second game of the tournament, even though we are on day 3. They had a bye day on day number 1. They've only played Elevate so far, but as Stokes mentioned, things are really only going to get harder from this point forward, so it's probably going to be a long day in the practice room after this for SSG, given the way that the series has gone so far against W7M. Hertz did finally die, by the way, for those who missed it, inside of that clutch in the last round, so his perfect streak is over now. Managed to pick up 12 kills, though, before going down over the course of only 5 rounds being played out as well. That is impressive in and of itself. Beautifully played out.
There we go.
Fortunately,
he's dead.
Yeah. He's going to be found out first this time. Bosco hits the ground running here with the opening kill so far untraded against Hertz.
Bosco probably feels like he just slayed a dragon. ridiculous. Herd's a raid boss. Yeah. So much weight off their shoulders. They're like, yes, W7M has to kill us. It isn't just Herds. Thank God. KZ looking to see if he can potentially work his way in through detention. Rampy now down 1-6 for him on the game, but you really can't give him that much grief because everybody's practically in the same boat. JV92's gotten some control of top east. Fultz looking for one, but wow. Just wow. A single shot. Fultz dead, now down to 2 after Yeti hits the wayside. Bosco and hot and cold got to get something going here. Bosco looking to play a peculiar position here inside of vents, but I don't think it's even going to prevent the plant. It's coming in from the other end as he just simply trying to work his way in behind a potential push from this end, but looks like this is going to be map point build up for W7M as we got 4 people alive and Bosco might not even have enough bullets in order to accomplish this.
Not looking likely for the clutch, unfortunately. Well,
oh my
abated
gosh.
for the moment, but it's not even the angle he's challenging that takes him down. The coordination again. I know we've spoken of death about it at this point, but W7M just continues to impress. The fact that even when it's like just a throwaway duel at the end of the round, not mattering that much ultimately to the outcome of it, they're still coordinatingly pushing both the metal stairs as well as the east main stairs there to make sure they both end up at the top at the same time. And when the challenge comes through, yeah, one of their players might go down, but they're definitely getting that trade in the process. Beautifully done by W7M. Not skipping a single beat here at SI.
I mean, W7M, I don't know if they trained in jiu-jitsu or what, man. It's like fighting water right now. Anything that SSG does, it just curls around their fist and immediately recoils right back into their face. Every single player across the board, all trying to provide something different for Space Station, all at a different pace as well. You know, you have Fultz trying to get more aggressive along the likes of Rampy as well as Yeti, and then you also have Hot and Cold kind of with his sneaky play style that we tend to see, something more laxing-esque, right? But then you also have Bosco at that back line, so they're providing all of these different levels, all of this different depth, but W7M are still going to those different depths and completely just blowing them out of the water. It is ludicrous what we are seeing. This is surely a statement game for the Brazilians.
All right, well, let's see here if they can seal the deal with 7-0. Perfect map for W7M. Or if SSG still has a little bit of fight left in them to try and stem the tide. Well, what would definitely be the impossible for me at this point here. I'm trying to go for the 6-0 repeat now on the attacking side of this map.
I think Julio just wants to make Lycan as sad as possible after what happened to SI 2020. He's like, listen, you made me go through that entire best of 5 just to take it away from me? All right, you're getting 1 round today. That's it. That's all. That's all you got.
It's the ultimate revenge from like 4 years or 3 years ago at this point here. So let's see if that's part of the equation.
Man, 3 years ago already. So crazy. And we're going to have a crowd back in Montreal. I'm going to cry, dude.
Very true.
So beautiful. Oh, KZ.
Spotted one.
Wants to go for it, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't want to take the challenge, though. He's probably a little worried that Hot and Cold's expecting this, and I think he is. Hot and continuing to sit this back. There's a hot ping going out over there for it as well, so KZ makes the smart choice, does not directly challenge it. Won't be going for that much of an ego chow here early on in the round. Still have 2 minutes to play out, so sits back, waits it out, plays the patient game here, as I think they still want to be lined up for the perfect 7-0. Like we said, W7M have not really been playing around too much, even though they are very far ahead in this matchup right now.
Indeed. SSG sticking to similar guns when it comes to their offensive lineups. Lots of frag grenades, good amount of throwables, good amount of hard breach as well to try and open up some new angles, but it really hasn't gotten them that far. W7M have definitely been the aggressors so far in the map, as they're constantly trying to battle out these wall positions, windows, everything right on the cusp of getting into the building, all trying to maintain control. Grampy will finally slip in downstairs. They found a deployable shield. Nobody's going to be playing around it. Just get rid of it. Rampy will hit the mark, at least on that piece of utility, but no damage dealt to W7M. And in fact, KZ will be taking down Hot and Cold 1-7 if W7M are able to close it out.
Eventually gets that battle versus Hot, and he'd been tracking him for some time. That was the player he saw outside the building as we were talking about a potential run out 30 seconds prior. Hot and Cold, I believe, does move a bit closer to the door, so gets an actual challenge from the inside and then just reapplies the barricade once that kill is claimed. Volps, some potential great timing here to sneak up on another member of SSG. They're not expecting him to go for the outright swing. There we go, and once again, the accuracy as well from Volts. Hurts with another pickup as well. That'll be his 13th KZ, shutting it down. Rampy picking up one for free, but that is it. Aside from that, ladies and gentlemen, it's a perfect 7-0 from W7M to shut this series down 2-0 over SSG. Mark up the bingo board, Fresh.
Well, what a stat line to talk about. Glad that I checked what Fresh was talking about before this broadcast, because, man, was that a point to be made. What a terrible map pool from SSG here, proven by W7M. A singular round is all SSG can muster up against this Brazilian squad. And this is an SSG that wants to lift another hammer, folks. A lot of work to be done tonight, a lot of thoughts disheveled yet again for SSG here. Did get that win the first day, so 1-1 in their best of threes here.
Like I said, it's going to be a long day in the practice room for SSG, reviewing the VODs and figuring out just exactly what went wrong. In fact, this may be one of those games where you almost just kind of like forget about it to some extent. Take what you can, have like and watch the VODs maybe, but for the rest of the players, just focus up on fixing the immediate mistakes and worry about the next game. Is unfortunately not a whole lot of good things that were done there by SSG to take home and try to figure out for their next game. Yeah,
you know, if we were looking at this in kind of like a MOBA sense, W7M played a game that didn't allow SSG to even get through an early game. You know what I mean? The SSG's setup was not allowed the majority of the time, and that's what made it so very difficult. Think about all the way back to things on like Chalet, where Bosco's just simply trying to swing in master window when the site's all the way downstairs, and he's dying to a guy all the way in kitchen. I mean, it's just so hard fought for SSG at every corner. They're just trying to go for their strategies, man, but they can't get it done. Well, ladies and gents, that's going to do it for us for the morning game. We'll talk to you guys a little bit later.